level, but now we get to go into the inner city of Kingston.
I can't wait to learn more as we go across Jamaica into different churches to understand what they do.
It's Tuesday, July 30, 2024. This is CVM News at noon, and I'm Ramon Gordon. Now, the People's National Party, PNP, is calling on the government to extend the relief period from customs duties and general consumption tax for Hurricane Beryl recovery efforts. The current one-month waiver, set to expire on August 23, is deemed insufficient by the PNP, as they argue that more time is needed to address the extensive damage caused by the storm. Earlier this month, the Finance Ministry approved a pause on GCT and customs duties for goods procured for relief and rehabilitation. However, the PNP is advocating for an extension through the end of the hurricane season, that's November 30. They argue that it is, quote, unjust for the government to collect duties and taxes from those who have already suffered significant losses. As such, the party is urging immediate consideration of this matter. Meanwhile, recovery efforts are in full swing across Clarendon following Hurricane Beryl, which left nearly 200 homes in the parish completely destroyed. The road to recovery will be long and challenging, with significant work still needed to rebuild the affected communities. Aid is pouring in from groups like All4JA Foundation.
Upwards of 1,500 to 2,000 packages, food packages, not just for Southeast Clarendon either, or across the Clarendon belt and even outside of Clarendon as well. And they have focused their attention on providing support to this rebuild. So identifying partners that can help them to get plyboard, to get bathrooms, to get all that material that will be required, so that what the government is giving, we'll be able to couple it to ensure that you can get a real solution. If you give somebody 150,000, it may do wonders for some families who can add on to it and get that support, but others, it's really a drop in the bucket for them.
Now, rehabilitation efforts are progressing at a steady pace, and while the government continues to court additional aid, they are urging residents to be patient.
Government, we have set up a relief fund, and you can supply that relief fund with any support. And there are other foundations, NCB Foundation, All4JA Foundation, JWN Foundation, and several others that have accounts or mechanisms. The All4JA has accounts that they have put out. The persons can provide support, and they can also be contacted if you have, for instance, material. Now, one person who is a contractor actually called me and said, listen, Reggie, I'm going to send you a container of material at cost. And then by the next day, he said, listen, forget the cost. We're sending it. Wow. And that has helped us to at least start in support for at least 10 homes. So, you know, I'm really, you know, happy to see that we're pulling together. There is a lot more needed. As we speak right now, there are persons listening and saying, but what about me? Trust me. And we acknowledge you.
Hurricane Beryl didn't only destroy infrastructure, it's also led the Bank of Jamaica BOJ to predict an increase in inflation and an uptick in prices for starchy foods over the next 2 to 3 months. This prediction looms as western breadbasket parishes still grapple with the effects of the storm. However, inflation is predicted to return to normal by the end of the year. Speaking on CVM's lead story, chartered accountant Dennis Chung shares his take on how businesses can prepare for the economic shocks.
Businesses will have to look at what's happening with their peculiar industry, and they will have to make decisions. I mean, decisions could be that, you know, you're going to cut back on production because you see demand going down. It could be that you cut back on expenditure. Obviously, you're going to have to do what you need to do to survive. So that's the sort of thing business can do. Now, there are some industries that will not necessarily be affected. Food, for example, you have to eat food, right? You can't cut back on food. So what you'll find is that the more discretionary industries like restaurants, you know, if you're sticking to the food industry or entertainment, might start seeing it first, or things like the motor vehicle industry, right? So those are discretionary things. I mean, we've seen reports of increase in receivables at banks. Nothing too alarming yet, but it's an indication that the consumer might be feeling a little pain. So businesses are going to look at that. Well, I hope they're looking at that already. They're going to do their forecast, and they're going to say, they're going to do some what-if scenarios. If this were to happen, what is my next action plan, right? And plan based on that. They can't wait until it happens, but rather they'll do that. So they'll know the trigger points that they have to pull in case, they see a slowing down of demand as projected. Then, as I said, expenditures might get cut. One of the first areas people always look at cutting is things like advertising, so that's a knock-on effect, for example, on media houses.
Now, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton previously reported that his ministry is anticipating an increase in dengue cases post-burial. However, with growing sensitization and support, the numbers are at a standstill. Here's Trisha Gay Kelly with more.
Mosquitoes have been a matter of concern of late, and more so since the hurricane. Many Jamaicans have reported an increase in the number of mosquitoes in and around their homes, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness has confirmed the claim, noting that some 74 species of mosquitoes are on the island, with an additional 2 species discovered in recent times. It's why the ministry anticipated an increase in dengue cases, but Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton explains things are going better than expected.
We have not noticed any increase in dengue in the parish, indeed in the country. It is not to say that with increased population, the risk of dengue will not increase. It will. And so what we're asking people to do is to be vigilant and to manage them in their environment. But as of now, we haven't seen any increase in dengue.
Despite this report, he's urging Jamaicans to continue ridding their homes of breeding sites. The minister, while touring with vector control workers in Trelawney, urged residents to prepare.
Get rid of the water that is in your vase and your whatnot, or your dining room table, or the old tires and milk tins and so on. You have to control your environment and also protect yourself. Get an insect repellent, protect yourself so that you play your part in ensuring that we don't see an ongoing situation where we become part of the problem rather than the.
Earlier this month, the ministry announced that the season itself, coupled with climate change and ongoing rainfall, are contributing factors to the increasing mosquito population.
In the summer months, we're seeing the mosquitoes go from eggs to adults in 5 days. And so what that means is that we're having more mosquitoes over a shorter period of time. Now, with rainfall added to that variability, so you're having more mosquitoes a shorter period of time, more breeding sites. So you're having more mosquitoes breeding in more breeding sites over a shorter period of time.
Locals are also encouraged to welcome vector control workers who will be visiting communities island-wide, especially in areas where there is no electricity. Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
Stay with us. CVM News at noon continues after this.
Believe in golden years that shine bright, and nutrition plays a vital role in keeping our seniors healthy and happy. Studies have shown that in Jamaica, nearly 35% of men 65 years and older and 10% of women the same age are underweight. As we journey through life, nutrition remains essential. But as we age, it becomes even more crucial. Many older adults face nutritional challenges, and inadequate nutrition with the management of non-communicable diseases contributes to or worsens their well-being.
If older persons are losing weight rapidly or have loss of appetite or difficulty swallowing, please take them to a doctor or the nearest health center. Let's help our seniors stay happy and healthy with good nutrition.
This is a message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Supermed Family of Pharmacy is your trusted partner in health and wellness for over 30 years. with 8 convenient pharmacies across Eastern Jamaica. Supermed Mall Pharmacy, Supermed New Kingston, Supermed Pepine, Supermed Port Antonio Pharmacies 1 and 2, Claire's St. Mary, Lloyd's St. Thomas, and a convenient drive-through at our Hughenden location where you can get your medication without leaving your car. We're dedicated to providing you with the highest level of care. Experience the difference with Supermed family of pharmacies. Super happy, super healthy.
And you go down and have a good day. Blessing. Supermed.
I'm Tashika Lu, and we all have a story. I can vividly remember when I was about to sit my CSEC exams, my life took an abrupt turn. While I was walking home, I was struck by a motor vehicle. As a result, I suffered major memory loss, which unfortunately, I failed my exams. It was impossible to retain information. This one school piqued my interest the most, and it was the Distinction College, lowest school fee and flexible payment plan. They offer over 35 vocational and professional courses. Eventually, I became a part of the family, and during my time there, I resat my exams, and with the patience of my teachers, I was successful. In addition to that, I studied media and broadcasting, specializing in radio presentation. I co-hosted the school's radio show, Distinction 411. I voiced numerous ads for the school, interview artists, hosted graduation. And now, I have my own radio show called On the Air with Tashika Lu. So you see, my friends, if I can do it and I did, you can do it too. You can call them at 876-356-4167.
Sugarcane Productions, in association with Boundbrook Wines, presents the Love and Togetherness Concert, starring the legendary Russell Tompkins and the New Stylistics. Saturday, August 17, the Palm Drive at Hope Gardens, with Richie Stevens, Kashif Lindo, Wayne Wade, Heather Cummings-Williams, and Lloyd Parks and We the People. Gates open 6 p.m., showtime 8 p.m. Presented in association with CVM TV, The Jamaica Observer, Cool 97 FM, Seals and Engravables, Island Car Rentals, Okorte Hotel and Suites, NK Wholesale, Sugarcane Productions, and DK Water. Security by Allied Protection. Betcha by golly wow. Don't miss it!
Welcome back. You're watching CVM News at noon. To international stories now. At least 93 people have been killed and dozens are still feared trapped after heavy rains triggered massive landslides in a southern Indian state. The landslides struck hilly areas in the early hours of Tuesday. Rescue operations are still underway but are being hindered by heavy rains and something else. Here's more from the BBC.
We start in India, where the government of the southern state of Kerala has declared 2 days of mourning after more than 90 people were killed in a series of landslides. Officials say almost 100 people are still missing. Images on social media show railway lines and roads underwater in forested areas, torrents of muddy water sweeping away trees and bridges. Many people are feared trapped in areas that the emergency services have yet to reach. Samira Hussain is our South Asia correspondent. She told me the casualty figures are expected to rise.
Most people expect that that number is actually going to go up. They're saying about 250 people have been injured so far, and they have the Indian Navy that is efforting in the rescue attempts. You also have members of the Indian Army that are also involved in the rescue operations. What's really making it all really difficult is, of course, that it continues to rain there, and it was those rains that triggered the 3 consecutive landslides very early in the morning Tuesday here in India. And now they're trying to reach those communities that are basically cut off from other parts of the region. There's a critical bridge that connected one area that suffered a landslide, and that has been destroyed. And so the army is actually building a rope bridge to try and reach some of those that are stranded. You know, officials there believe that many people may have been swept into those rivers that have become really swollen and muddy and just become trapped under that water. So really now the race is on to try and get to some of those people that are stranded behind those mudslides.
That's where we end things for the news today. Stay with us for our midday review or preview of the Olympic Games hosted by Joel Crosskill. Take care.